on the vehicle pad though. The north vehicle pad. Northeast.
I said it.
Huh.
I'm not.
I killed myself.
Anything.
I'm still alive. I'm under all this debris.
But by the
Yeah,
way,
I'm still alive.
let's
so-
see, there is place
Oh,
for one.
now-
Okay, guys, let's get this party rolling then. Well, welcome to the first ever VR Miller cross-faction server training event. Okay, so yeah, that was a long term. So in this tutorial thingy training, we will be covering as much as subjects we can and sharing information as much as we can for a better ESF future. And
Wait, what?
yeah, I don't ask. I need my caffeine to kick in. Okay,
Just
so
injected. We solved.
so the first order of business is if everybody could like stop shooting around and so on. We are going to be going over first the coordination on how to coordinate strikes and assist with the ground targets during large aerial fights. And thank you for that. So a lot of times you are going to be in the squad that is not primarily air, and during those times you are going to be often have to relay information about the enemy activity, like whether it be thunders or galaxies, to the troops in the ground. You do this by two ways. First, if the squad that you are with is defending or attacking a point and close by to that point, like let's say for the purpose of this exercise, the training facility is the point that we are defending as ground targets, ground units. And let's say that the platoon waypoint is randomly placed in the vicinity. Now in this situation you can best use the position itself as a training facility to assist with the direction giving. For instance, if the TR Thunder is the intel you want to bring up, especially before all else, your best option is to spot them to make it easier to be recognized. Second, you can give the direction from the training facility. The easiest way is enemy galaxy east, or more specifically east-northeast of the training facility. If you do not give directions, depending on how you have the comp set up, it's gonna be either through the facility you are defending or in perspective of the platoon waypoint, whichever your outfit or your group has decided on that. You can give additional information like the altitude and the number of people inside, especially for the galaxies, for setting the primary targets and so on. Your own bursters will benefit from knowing the altitude of the aircraft, which will give them the option to look directly upwards or scan around the trees for the incoming low galaxy. For ground units, however, you can always give the distance if the enemy is hiding behind the large formations of rocks, or just give the rocks as point of reference and then say that the thunder is parked behind the rocks. That's often the default way of relaying information. And when, for instance, a platoon leader wants to give the air liberators or sites or any ESF a target, best way to do that is not through smoke, unfortunately, because of the render distances. For instance, I can place a smoke anywhere around the training facility, and that smoke will not be visible once you are 200 meters away from it. It will still render as far as the remaining smoke, but the smoke as a source will disappear to give out any additional smoke. So in times like this, in reference to A point or platoon waypoint is the preferred type, not for, I mean, if you are gonna rely on the squad leader's position, it's not always reliable, because the first thing this liberator or the site has to do is find the squad leader, especially if it's a rather chaotic moment. It can take some time. So, like, for the purposes, I'm gonna give a point of reference, and if I do not give a point of reference, it means I'm giving it for the platoon waypoint. And I would like you guys to find the target and then immediately shoot at it. So, enemy heavy tank towards northeast would mean that from the platoon waypoint northeast, yep, enemy heavy tank, meaning the, well, the Prowler. That's one example, and for instance, if I say platoon waypoint southwest primary enemy galaxy, that was rather long, but you can immediately say enemy galaxy southwest. Most of the time, if you are especially in a heavily crowded area, it's best to ignore like galaxy 1 out of 12. That's something you can easily ignore, because it's not a priority target unless there's a squad leader that is going to put down a beacon after he jumps out. Other than that, as far as ground targets go, depending on your comm setup, it's reporting the Sunders is much more important than reporting harassers or any other tanks in the area. And we are gonna have a small exercise on this right now, where I will place random platoon waypoints and give you guys direction on where the enemy is, and objective is to find the target and shoot at it. Okay, so northeast of platoon waypoint, 400 meters, enemy Sunder. Yeah, that Sunder was a little bit in a tricky place, so it required everyone to like really pin on it from the map and so on, which will often gonna be the case if the area is too crowded and you are not sure where the primary target is. Okay, for instance, enemy Mosquito northeast of platoon waypoint. It's currently landed, and fortunately it just spawned. Yep. So, are there any questions regarding this?
How do you estimate the output result?
If you are the platoon leader and if you open the map grid, each of the squares is 200 meter by 200 meter. This actually changes from, like, if you are in this VR, the range of it is actually 400 meters. In the normal map, however, you will see that it is... actually, that's a good question. Was it 200 or 400? Right now it's...
200, I think.
Yeah, the grid's lines are 200 meters to 200. Strange. It's right now here 400. And yeah, VR is fucked up place, so you can estimate the distance from that if you are like have the map open and so on. It's a little bit more difficult to give it in the air. You have to estimate it with your eye rather than rely on the map grid. But it is doable, and once you like get the sizes of the trees and so on, with practice you can estimate the distance quite easily. And one thing to cover, let's say that you just flew over the target that you want to give the direction of, but easiest way to like tell the direction that you want to report is to face yourself off from your own guys, so that if you are heading away directly, just heading direct away from your own troops. That way you will, since you just flew over the target also, the direction that you are flying is the direction that you want your guys to focus towards. For instance, let's say if the platoon waypoint is where my armor column is, and the sunder that I pointed out was the one that I want to give the information of, and I just flew over it, I faced myself off from the platoon waypoint, and since I'm facing northeast, I know that my tank units should focus on northeast in order to spot the sunder.
Yeah.
That's like an easy way to get the math done for yourself, instead of like visualizing it in your mind of, oh, which way was it for my guys. Oftentimes, if you are flying around, avoid giving the information from your point of view, because you might be very off from the action itself, or your friendlies may be very off, and always give it in that case with a point of reference. Like if you are standing still relatively and cannot figure it out, give yourself as point of reference in the worst case scenario.
User joined your channel.
Oftentimes, if you are dead near the sunder, you can give that as a point of reference. Your squad leader or platoon leader will be able to see from the map where you have died, and will be able to direct the guys towards your direction, because they can still see the number even though you see a skull. Okay, is there any other questions?
Will air and infantry always be in the same platoon?
Depends on the setup. If you are running a separate squad for air, shit, fucking door. It's up to the squad leader, platoon leader, to decide on that. Actually, I'm not gonna answer the
Okay,
door.
but say we're running indeed a separate air squad, then what do you use, considering platoon waypoints will differ, or squad waypoints?
Depends how much access you have. Like if you can talk to the platoon entirely, or if you have access only to the squad channels, because for instance when we are running as DVG, oftentimes we separate the squads into different channels. And once you do that, you have to give the information to your squad leader and then make this kind of long information chain. To avoid that, you can always give the information directly to the platoon leader, who can have the appropriate squads focusing on the direction. It entirely depends on how much communication access you are given, because you also don't want to clutter the entire chat there while the other actions are going on. If everybody is in the same TeamSpeak, for instance, TeamSpeak channel. That's why, for instance, we have the priority targets, like the enemy spawn capabilities, like Sunders as primary reports, and Galaxies 12 out of 12, for instance. So it's depending on your comm setup. For DVG guys, it's gonna be again depending on the comm setup, as the size of the platoon changes, or from squads to single squad, the information chain is listed out on the website. You can go read.
No,
Okay.
Dave, you ain't my dad.
User joined your channel.
Okay, I have to, my TeamSpeak is frozen. I cannot see who's talking or... Okay, that's covered up. So, next subject is spatial awareness. So, this is gonna be besides looking around from the third person view. Of course, when you're flying around as basics, if you are flying in the third person view, you will have a better view of the area. And it's gonna also allow you to see the tracer fires much more easier, so that you can tell where the enemy is shooting you from. As far as spatial awareness, besides visual goes, your second best bet is the minimap. And the third option is always the listening. During the dogfights, for instance, you often need to rely on your listening rather than focusing on the map and doing all the relative actions, because in the map you only get a two-dimensional view of things. You cannot tell how high the enemy ESF is, or if it's a lib or a galaxy. One way you can easily tell how high the enemy site is, or enemy ESF is to slightly roll your ESF around. What will that do is, as you're rolling it around, the enemy ESF will switch from one side of the headset to another. You can use that as a guide to finding the position of the ESF in the air. Like the switch will, if the switch is happening like just as you are stationary, like let's say you are turning clockwise on yourself, like rolling sideways.
Yeah.
If the switch is happening from your right ear to left ear while turning clockwise, just as you are like leveled up, that means the enemy ESF is right above you. And you can use that timing change to get a feel on where the enemy is, rather than trying to turn around constantly and looking around. At some point, however, you can develop the skill to guess essentially where the ESF is from their actions and so on in your environment. But if you are not able to visualize that, your next best is to rely on your senses like eyesight and minimap and listening. I would say listening comes more importantly oftentimes in a tight dogfight than using the minimap.
Is there any advantage to flying low, or is it just easier that way to avoid things?
When you are flying low, what you have working for you is the ground. So when you are flying low, while your line of sight is limited, also the enemy's line of sight is limited as well. As in, when the enemy is like above the buildings and looking around, they will be less likely to see you around flying.
Yeah.
If you are sticking low, it's good for stealth attacks and hit and run tactics.
Okay. Thanks, man.
And especially against lock-ons. Another aspect of spatial awareness is how you can develop this is basically fly around your own ESFs. Always check where they are and try to focus on listening and trying to tell their direction and where they are flying. Because as the other ESFs fly near you, you will get familiarized with the sounds and how the sound changes as they are passing by. You can essentially end up telling the speed, the direction and the position just by listening in on the action. So that's a practice that you can apply. Also, one thing to note is every ESF has their own unique sounds, so the sooner you get used to the sounds is the sooner you identify if it's friend or foe. For instance, you don't want to suddenly react or not react to a site that could be a friendly or foe. If it's a friendly site, you don't want to act like, oh, it's an enemy and start looking around for an enemy. Only to get yourself confused when you see, oh, well, it turns out it was a friendly. Or vice versa. The other way around is much more dangerous. So, any questions on? Or if there's anybody wants to add anything to the spatial awareness? Okay. So what we can do as far as exercising here goes for spatial awareness is not much, because everything is neatly displayed on the map and we cannot run much of different scenarios other than flying close to each other. So I'm gonna move on to the next subject, which is crash avoidance.
Here we go again.
What? Okay, so
What the fuck?
what are you guys doing there?
Every time I get you, oh man.
Okay, so crash avoidance is, well, breaks down into two subjects. One is while attacking, and the other one is when you are going to resupply. I'm gonna first focus on the what to do when attacking. Let's say that let's we meet all at the platoon waypoint, so that it will be we are gonna be doing it as we are talking about it. So let's say that we are gonna attack the tower towards our southeast, and while we are moving as a group, which if you are moving as a like a formation flight, you will often do, is as you are heading, the most crashes happen at the intersection point, as just when you are all close to the enemy, and since all of you are aiming at the same target, you are eventually moving into a same single point. The best way to avoid crashes in that kind of situation is to have a designated turn point. Like, if everybody starts to fire their rockets at the same time, they will all finish firing at the same time. And when that happens, if you have the turn off protocol, like everybody bang to the left after you finish shooting, you will synchronously start turning at the same time. Given everybody does this maneuver, the likelihood of crashes is minimized, rather than everybody turning into a random direction. So right now let's practice that. Let's head towards the tower right now. Keep the maximum speed. On my mark, we are gonna start firing.
Was it right or left this time?
Blank left. Okay, fire. Blank. Yep, I see people hitting the mountains, but that's okay. That's up to you to master.
I attacked the mountain.
Another way of like this kind of everybody heading at the same direction issue that you can avoid crashes is, given that you are at the same altitude, if you are following each other, randomly decide to go a little bit up or down. That will limit the chances of collision, because if there is AA at your target destination, at least one of the ESFs will be eventually locked or shot at, that they have to break off prematurely. And when that happens, you want their left bank or right bank, whichever you decide on, to be as clear as possible. So easiest way of doing this is during the attack run. If you were sticking together, decide randomly whether you want to go up or down. That will create a altitude difference. So in case of banking, your side is left free.
How about just agreeing during a Escort to say, okay, well, I'm gonna stick to low, medium, or high altitude, and then you're flying around like in a ladder formation.
Yeah, you can also do that. In addition, you can also decide that for yourself. So, for instance, during the approach, you can listen in on where are your own friendly ESFs, and try to maneuver away from the sound source.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yep. Oftentimes, if you are like deciding, let's say that you are, let's increase the numbers, and let's say that you are 3 air squads, and you decide that, okay, Alpha, you attack vector from 250 meters, Bravo 200 meters, and Charlie 150 meters. In that situation, while you are still giving yourself quite a distance from each other, which can effectively work out, still, to make a little bit randomness, each group has to in itself move a little bit up and down, because now you have 12 people who are essentially at the 250 meters altitude. So yeah, you can combine all of these and make a, depending on your sizes, make a mixture of tactics. Also, one thing to note is you don't want to, if you are going to preset your attack altitudes, it's very important that you know which altitude your target is going to be. So for instance, you don't want to attack that tower from saying, okay, let's you all attack the tower from 500 meters altitude, because that's going to be leaving it under the landing pads, for instance.
Is there someone else who just had the server has shut down and logged you out?
Yeah, everybody.
No, I didn't.
No, it just
me.
gives you as a notification. Okay, so let's redo that attack one more time. Everybody get up to the platoon waypoint at 700 meters this time. We are gonna be keeping that altitude as if everything is going fine and dandy till we reach the tower. And then when the dive order is given, you are free to shoot. Once you finish shooting, we are banking left. Okay, head towards the tower now. Keep 700 altitude. All sides, dive, dive, dive. Nice, sit down.
Oh, you said die, not die.
Oh, die. No, hopefully in the game, hopefully as a platoon leader, I will never have to say that command. Everybody kill you and die.
You said it before.
Well,
Yeah,
if
but
this
that
a
was...
Japanese server, then yes, but
You dropped us from a galaxy at 999 meters.
But I sent somebody beforehand.
And he died.
Well, irrelevant. Details.
Your argument is invalid.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's when we laugh evilly afterwards.
well, what's the fun without even laughing?
Okay, so the next crash avoidance is perhaps the funniest one to watch from a distance. It is the crash avoidance while coming in for a resupply at a tower. So before we try this out, I'm gonna first tell you guys what our protocol is. So when you are coming at a tower, you instead best if you guys follow me so that you see me as I'm doing it. I'm right now closest to the heading towards tower. Green with a star on his head. So as we are approaching to the tower, we all keep at the same altitude with the landing pads, and this is so that we are creating a traffic. And once we try to find a place to land, we always pick a landing spot that is gonna be like, imagine the pad I'm on. How I'm landing is anti-clockwise direction I'm facing, and at the very edge of the landing pad. I'm currently landed at the eastern landing pad. The reason for this kind of landing is so that when I get out, I'm getting out towards the left and inside of the landing pad. With the sides is a little bit difficult, but what happens is that I land to the very edge, so friendly sides also have plenty
I
of...
keep sliding.
Yeah, but don't worry, it gets like locked on by 45-degree angle there at one point. So all sides have a nice landing area, and even a lib can land in there comfortably. And the takeoff protocol is that once you are done with your business, you go directly upwards and then head off. That will, if you like imagine it three-dimensional, that creates a nice traffic of flow. Like everybody coming.
I just exited my scythe on the right. What?
Yeah, that only happens if your left side is blocked. Which means
Lovely.
that when you landed, there was a other side towards your direct left that blocked your exit.
Right.
Okay, so let's we all head to the platoon waypoint, which I'm gonna press it, put it more closer to the tower right now. So let's say that we have been in combat here for a while. We have been shooting our ammo. On my mark, we are all gonna head towards the tower and resupply. There's one more additional tip that you can apply when you are going for a resupply only and not repairs. So that is to stand underneath the landing pad. And one thing you can do if you cannot find a location is circle around anti-clockwise or clockwise direction. It's up to you. It's not that much of a difficulty. If there's a lot of sites, don't stand on top of the landing pads while you are looking for a location to land, unless you found your location. So let's we all head to the landing pads now and find a position to land, get out and get back in and resupply. The thing to avoid at best is not to use afterburners, so that because people who are approaching the landing pads has much more visual data to go through than you, so they know a lot about what is going on. Your fast movements can cause a chain effect and destroy 3 or 4 other sites in the process. One thing to note is you don't actually, when coming in for resupply, depending on if you have auto repair or not, if you are just coming for a resupply, it's sometimes best to use underneath the tower. So you can actually try this out right now. Go underneath the landing pads and try to get ammo from that location. The benefits of that is you shield yourself from the enemy drop pods or liberators or even enemy ESFs that are trying to look for an easy target, because essentially you are breaking their line of sight by standing underneath the pads. It is a slightly risky place to be if you are not comfortable with your levitation and do fast movements up that will bump you to the landing pads, but the takeoff protocol from that, if it's a busy area, is quite the opposite of the exact opposite of the landing pad protocol. You go downwards and then move away, because again the incoming sights will be coming from the exact altitude of the landing pads, and whether they go up or down, you are trying to create a flow of traffic, and your easy exit will be going up a little bit and then forward. Again, one more thing to press, which often happens, is people taking off with afterburners. Worst thing to do, unless you are being fired at, which is then reasonably understandable, even if it's a heavy area, because when you use afterburner you can go uncontrollably fast and sometimes in forward if you are not careful with your altitude. And one thing to note about resupplyment, crash avoidance, is if you are gonna be repairing, do not use the towers. Even if they are defendable, try to land at the ground, because if it's a busy area, when you are in the landing pad you are much of a target to the enemy tanks that are shooting around, enemy anti-air that is trying to look for easy kills. Especially if the tanks are in distance, they can easily shoot your ESF on the landing pad, so you are standing in much more survival chance if you land on the ground rather than the landing pads.
User left your channel.
You don't use nanite auto repair.
You can, yeah. If you are, this is in case you are not using the nanite auto repair. So one thing to note is if you are like in the position that if you are not in the distance to go to a a landing pad or anything, if it's too far away. So in that position, if your outfit has brought in, or a random guy brought in a sunder that you can resupply from, you can use that sunder for a source of ammunition. For instance, I have set the platoon waypoint on top of the sunder that is not unfortunately a ammo sunder, but will serve as an example. The approach protocol for the resupplyment from a sunder is very simple. You approach from the behind and then you leave from the front. So again, you are creating a traffic to go through, as Alpha 7 just demonstrated. Thank you, Sulking.
No problem.
One thing to note is, again, slow movements, no afterburners.
User in your channel timed out.
You can use the left and right side of the sunder. The ammo, oftentimes the ammo display range is gonna be large enough.
I wasn't listening, but did you tell him about holding S?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, good point. When flying that low in forward, you can hold S and move your nose down. That will give you a stable forward speed.
No, but I mean, when you're hovering over ammo sunder, you can hold S and you'll hover over the ground, so tanks, etc., even sunders can move under you without hitting you.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you for that. Okay, so in case of repair sunders, you can always use the same method to approach them if you do not have an auto repair, or if you are flying as a, for instance, light assault in an ESF. So, do we have any questions about these three methods so far? Okay, anything anybody likes to add to this?
I can fly backwards.
Good to know.
I like turtles.
I like trains.
I like boobs.
One thing you can do actually, if you are like a air platoon, which is again going for the big examples, is you can have your own squad resupply points. Like, okay, everybody in the alpha used this pad or something like that, which is quite micromanagement that you probably will not have to do.
I got an idea. If we were like a platoon, we could have one galaxy with a sunder on top of it and fly it around 900 meters altitude and resupply up there.
Shh. Hey, we are gonna keep that secret till the outfit carriers come in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so much for secrets.
Thank you. Well, I suppose better not mention the repair sunder as well.
Yep. Okay, so now that we are done with these subjects, we can now share our deep and extensive knowledge on how to fit a freaking ESF. So, as far as rotary guns and so on goes, it's up to your preferences, in my opinion. Especially if you wanna have if you are flying NC and if you wanna have the shotgun or not. I mean, I hear it's good for, instead of taking out infantry, it's good for taking out the armor instead.
No, it's really not. You need to be really close and people tend to shoot you down. I fly and see.
Huh.
Well, it's a shotgun for a reason.
Well, one thing we can like give a tip for is instead of if you are like using a non-shotgun main gun, like something that you can shoot long distances, have that on zoom, because you don't know if you have like if you're a night vision guy, you can always have the night vision, but consider also using a zoom if you are more into the standing in the distance and picking them off one by one. It can come in handy, and if you go to the options and in general, you can set the mouse sensitivity so that you can really make those small adjustments as you are aiming with the ESF that you are flying.
Yeah, but unfortunately you usually aim with the yaw instead of with the mouse.
Yep. Well, you can always use the mouse as in much more smaller adjustments, like if you move your sight, like give a little bit angle, like 10 degrees, and then move it up and down, you will get a little bit of change in the yaw, if you know what I mean.
Here's a question. How do you normally work with liberators in a side squad? ESF squad?
Yeah, that's gonna be covered in the Escort flight. Yeah, we are gonna come to that. And as far as fitting goes, again, the hover, dogfight and speed are up to your preferences, but oftentimes if you are using like reverse flight, hover is much more beneficial than the dogfighting, because of your lateral altitude changes increase. Speed gives you also additional afterburner. If you are pure dogfighter, perhaps you might be even interested in carrying fuel pods instead of rocket pods, so that you last longer into making backburst flight maneuvers. But again, it's preferences, up to you. Nano repair, it is a big question mark if you would like to get the composite armor or nano repair, but depending on your survival rate, if you often survive a combat and you just have to go back for repairs, you might be better off having at least trying to see how you play with the auto repair, because it will save you a lot of time in the end, and then you just have to go back for the ammo. As far as rocket pods go, definitely night vision or infrared or heat sensitive, whatever it was.
Change, are you seeing this?
Seeing what?
We hooked the... We managed to hook the sieves in a way that they're stuck to each other. Oh, they got released. Like the curvy points were around this cockpit, wrapped around it, stuck.
Oh. Anybody has anything to add to how they like to fit their ESF?
Stealth cameras.
Yeah, stealth can come in handy, especially if you are dogfighting. I mean, having the enemy not being able to see you on the radar, or carrying a radar yourself and seeing the enemy, can come in handy when you are turning around or trying to find the enemy.
PSA about stealth, it does not increase the lock-on time. Currently it's back.
Seriously?
Getting anything over rank 1 does not do anything.
Oh man.
Good thing I never tried that.
I want my refund.
Question on the stealth. When the enemy ESF approaches you, does it automatically turn the map before it actually shoots at you?
There is a proximity, like even if you are not using radar, even if the sight is not, even if the ESF is not spotted, there is a range where the enemy will appear on your radar, nearly because of this. When you use stealth, that is eliminated. They cannot see you unless they are spotted. As far as I know, if you are spotted, you do appear briefly on the map, but then disappear easily. I mean, much more quickly.
Thank you.
if you are much into the dogfighting, composite armor is not gonna be any helpful. That actually says in the description. It's just light weapons fire and bursters.
Did you die, Dave?
Yeah.
So what would you recommend for dogfighting? Is that the
Auto repair.
okay?
Well, depends on how good is the enemy. I mean, if you are fighting against a good pilot, auto repair, you will not have enough time to have the auto repair kick in, because you will be constantly exchanging fire, and 1 or 2 bullets hitting your ESF will immediately refresh your auto repair timer. But apart from that, for long battles like you are shredding through ESFs and so on, having a auto repair will come in handy, especially if you are like going one side at the enemy ESF at a time.
That's something else. How do you deal with multiple ESFs as lone guy?
When you are facing multiple ESFs,
Well, just
as
say,
while flying alone, you mean?
Yeah, like say you're, for instance, around here on these rocks, and you turn around the rock, and boom, there they are, 3 mosquitoes or whatever.
Well, depends on how competent they are. You can start flying into them, like very close to them, and cause a confusion. Oftentimes you can get like 1 or 2 of them, but keep in mind, if they can start tailing you, they will have combined firepower will be too much. You might want to bail off in the occasional situation, because Miller does have good pilots in it, and the likelihood of 3 enemy mosquitoes, one of them being able to keep track of you, is very highly likely. No offense for the US service, though. I mean, those guys are okay. So.
So good.
Okay, and as for like not fitting but flight, as far as flight goes, I would definitely recommend, if you are interested in flying low, make sure you master your control and space keys, because while flying underneath stuff, you are gonna heavily rely on them instead of diving with the nose and trying to pull up with the nose. And for instance, when you are turning through a mountain and you want to make a very steep turn, press Control and you will be able to make a more sharper and closer turn around the mountain while having much more visual on the mountain itself. And you can use that as a way to slow down, to confuse the enemy that is tailing you up. Like that.
If you turn around the mountain, do you do it with your belly or your top towards the mountain?
If I'm turning around the mountain, I have my top side facing the mountain.
Really?
Actually, it's much more situational than I would like to admit. It's depending on how I came to that mountain in the first place. Like, if you know the mountains around the Tavich Tech Plant, you know, there are very small curves and so on. Oftentimes, if you are enthusiastic around flying around the curves inside, for instance, the northeast of the Tavich Tower, there are brilliantly nice to put canyons there. You can just flip your sight sideways and graze through the mountains in full speed. At that point, you will have at some points your top side facing the mountains, and in some other, if you don't like the turn, you will have your back side to the bottom at the mountains.
Yeah, but facing your belly to the mountain, it's easier to brake than to turn around or get into reverse maneuver.
Oftentimes, if you are making a dive maneuver to turn around, it will feel much more slower than pushing your nose up and making a steep turn like that. One thing, if you are making a dive motion to turn is to press space to give yourself like a sort of backwards maneuver, so that you are facing the enemy much more accurately instead of making a direct spin around them. It will make you much more harder to follow, essentially, and it will give you a much more better aim once you finish your turn, and you are now much more faster facing the enemy.
By using space, or what, when you're turning?
When you are turning by pushing your nose up, use control. When you are turning by pushing your nose down, use space.
Okay.
Also, I mean, once you get the hang of what kind of maneuver it pulls off, you might even want to do the opposite of that while turning, pressing control, so that you are actually spinning around the enemy in order to confuse them.
Interesting.
Okay, so if there's anything anybody wants to know about any random subject, I can answer that or try to show if I can. So I'm open to questions or like discussions. After that, we are going to be moving to the how to make an escort flight. Okay, no questions. I feel like a university teacher. Nobody is asking questions. Let it finish. Let it end.
Excuse me, sir. May I use the bathroom?
No. Here's a bottle.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. So imagine you have two different situations. You've got an ESF in your tail. First situation, he's got quite a lot of distance, but he still hits you. Second situation, he's pretty close. So how would you like turn the battle, or turn the tide of the battle if he's in the first situation, along away?
Further away.
Yeah.
Let's say that you are not able to like make maneuvers to
Exactly.
avoid. Well, what you can do is find a decoy target, act as if you are turning around it, and then because he's far away, he will try to use a shortcut in order to catch up to you much more easily. But since there's this brief moment that he's out of your line of sight, you will have the option to trick him, stop, and go back from the other side. So you sort of like trick him to going to one direction, and then you are revising your way of flight and trying to get behind him. Or if you just want to get away from the fight, you can use this time as to estimate where his blind point will be and get your sight out of there. For instance, I can do this action while turning around that mountain, if you are following me. If you saw what I did, maybe that gave you a slight idea of how to implement it.
Do it again.
Okay. Let's say the sight is following from a distance. Imagine this mountain being much more taller. I turn around, I made him think that I'm gonna circle around. I circle back around, and now I'm trying to chase him.
Nice. Okay, cool.
You can do this in the bridges also. Like once you manage to force him to go one direction, you can try to like catch up from him behind, because your essential goal is to break his line of sight and use that as a tactical advantage. Now, for your second scenario, if the ESF is close,
Yeah.
oftentimes with the sights, trying to do a backwards maneuver will fail because you will expose your belly too much that they will have a very easy shot. So your best bet is to find a hard turnaround target, and as you are turning around that target, make a as fast as possible slow down. and then make a backwards maneuver. By doing that, you will you are trying to confuse him into not shooting you, but try to save himself. In that moment, he can crash into the mountain, perhaps, or try to like back off a little bit so that he can see you again. But you have already caused enough panic to pull yourself to a proper position that you can now perform a backwards maneuver. If you then do this upwards, you will have a visual on him, and luckily you would have confused him long enough that he has no clue of where you are.
Okay, can you show it again?
Okay, get behind me now then. Alright, yeah, you are telling me. Right. Like, let's say that you are following me. I made a direct stopping maneuver. My backwards flight didn't work out very well, but I guess you saw what I essentially tried to do.
Okay.
Again, I mean, if you are being chased and if you cannot use the rolling around and using control and space to give you random direction, best thing you can use is the environment itself.
Well, the problem I see with that maneuver is when you're slowing down, like for a halt or for a stop, then you're pretty vulnerable there. But I suppose the point is that you do that when you're out of you're out of his line of sight, right?
Yes, you want to do that in the least expected moment. Like when passing through that tunnel, he's gonna be thinking, okay, I'm gonna follow this guy, but the fact that you are stopping forces him to stop also. And in the confusion of, oh, I shouldn't be crashing to this mountain and so on, you might not be that much exposed. Again, it's very situational. You can do this around towers perhaps, and anywhere that there is this large objects that you can turn around from. It is gonna leave you vulnerable, exposed again, but again, you are taking your chances in getting an advantage.
Yeah, I'm just having trouble figuring out at what speed I can start doing the backwards maneuver and then shake him off, because if I slow down quickly down to like 60 or 70 kilometers per hour, sometimes I keep going forward and sometimes I manage to do the maneuver, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way I hear is, even though I don't look at the speed ever, I hear it's 50, but
okay.
There might be some like other requirements for the
in
encoding.
It still shows that you're going 50 an hour, and so you might be, for instance, doing a lot more, but it doesn't show that way. Like, your speed meter isn't exactly accurate as it shows your speed at which you're going down as well. For instance, it actually clearly shows if you're just hovering in the air and you're not going forward, you're still gonna have like 30 kilometers an hour just because you're falling down.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay.
Okay, so the next subject is escort flights. So again, gonna start with what we have as a protocol going on. In escort flights, we have 1 or 2 lips in the group, depending on how much air we have actually. Like in a squad, if we have cooled air, there's gonna be either 3 lips or 2 lips. What happens is, I'm not gonna enter into the advanced maneuvers, like formation flight, lock-on braking for your lips and so on, but essentially what you want to do is, if your sites do not have auto repair, you all want to stick together, because, well, if the air is heavily crowded by the ESFs, you want essentially, a little bit selfishly, you want liberators to be the bait while ESFs cover them from the back. so that essentially what it happens is that ESFs easily take out the enemy ESFs that are attacking the lips, so that the lips can continue on with the firing. Lips often should fit auto repair, given that they will be essentially the tanks. But other than that, let's say that a lip has run out of ammo. A site has run out of ammo, and you guys are deep inside the enemy territory, like near the NC Wharf Gate, clearing the enemy armor that is coming out from the gates and so on. Having that one site retreat back to the base is a risky maneuver, because now you are one site short, and also you have exposed your one vulnerable site to the enemy, which is low on ammo. As far as repairs go, in an escort flight, nano repairs is always recommended, and nano repairs and flares. Sorry?
As for libs, like what we run in the 151st Screaming Eagles, is we run libs with fire suppression and nano repair.
Yep.
So the nano repair can always work.
Yes, I mean nanos, yeah, for the extinguisher when it hits the red. But you might also wanna consider if there's okay, I'm gonna talk about the advanced formations right now, because that's where it comes in very handy. For instance, you have 4 libs in diamond formation, and one of them is getting locked on. The thing about the formation flight is all of you have to stay at the same altitude, and that will bring the advantage of, if one of the liberators is getting locked by, let's say, 10 anti-air heavies, that will pose a significant problem. Liberator uses the flares and it increases its altitude. Now what happens is, if it's a diamond formation in the same altitude, the enemy from the ground now must lock on to the other 3 liberators, because the 4th liberator who used his flares is now in a higher altitude and is not being in the locking priority for the software itself. And while that happens, your other liberators will follow the same code. If they flare up, they go up. If they flare up, they go up. The worst case scenario is it will be an equal distribution. Everybody will have to flare up if you have hit a large AA nest. But if you are organized enough, your one lib will always be the one that is going to be taking the primary fire. And by the time all libs are cycled through, your first lib will be able to come down in the altitude and be the tank for firing the flares. That's what you can do in between the liberators in the escort flight. So essentially the liberators are escorting each other from against the ground. Of course, it's an entirely other story when it's against flank. Then you just either bugger off or go higher. Now, as far as ESF's role in this goes, if you have spotted an AA nest, liberators, you can use them as the point guys, so that they get the most of the fire, while either they're holding the diamond formation or not, while ESFs move in to take out the Maxes and Sky Guards or whatever. Go on.
How do you deal with the burster nests?
Burster maxes, best way to deal with it, if you have, let's say you have 20 burster maxes and you have your air squad. What you have to do is you get a bait, bait them all into looking at one direction, and then make a coordinated primary attack, alpha strike attack, which is when everybody fires at the same time from a flanking position, so that they don't have time to react. That will cause a lot of smoke in the area, and you will essentially be damaging all the maxes in the vicinity if they are standing together. The smoke means that they will not be able to okay, I'm getting fired at, I should stop shooting at this liberator who's far away and focus on whatever's shooting me.
Sure.
So the point is essentially get the site slow, circle them around the AA nest, have the lib as bait, and give some covering fire to that with the ESFs also. But oftentimes 3 or 4 sites for that kind of hit operation is going to be enough with the current setup.
Yeah, it's,
I mean,
it's
how much
scary.
it
It's scary
damage.
to think about how quickly you can actually take out an AA nest if you have a coordinated strike with, yeah, as you say, 3 or 4 ESFs.
And if it's a coordinated, if it's an organized AA nest, one terrible thing they can do is position scouts ahead so that they will see any organized attack towards it. If especially if they have the high ground, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. So again, it's down to each ESF to. It's their initiative to break the operation if they know that it's a high chance of failure, and like inform the squad for that, because essentially with the new resource system coming up, it is gonna be much more costly to lose armor than ever before. And I'm thinking, did I cover everything as far as escorting goes? Yeah, I believe I did. So any questions, or is there anybody wants to add anything to the how to conduct escorts?
I'm not sure if you've covered it, but when escorting galaxies, it plays out a little bit differently, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah. For galaxy escorting, do you mean galaxy as bait or 12 out of 12 galaxy escorting?
12 out of 12 prime targets.
Yeah, what you can best do is, it's a little bit dangerous move, but if they have lock-ons rather than flags, what you can do is constantly, because the galaxy is going to be the primary target, constantly fly between the galaxy and the AA nest. That will make the enemy's lock-on equipment temporarily start locking onto you and then back at the galaxy, essentially refreshing the entire process. And that's what I remember doing as far as the escorting a galaxy against the AA nest goes. Did we have more information on that?
No, it's the best way to do it. Break the lock-ons for favor of the galaxy as much as you can. So it's swarm the galaxy and then move forward towards the AA nest, try and clear as much as they can.
Yeah, one thing.
Using the galaxy drops.
Yeah, one thing we do as an outfit though for this is galaxies are large, so having one decoy or entire group of decoys to escort the 12 of 12, or separating, at the worst case, separating them into like 3 guys per each galaxy, can also increase the survival chance of the squad into reaching the point, like squad leader being in the most back galaxy, or each galaxy is having 1 person each. But yeah, I mean, these are relatively known tactics, probably, so yeah, but it's good to just repeat them now. Okay, anything more to add?
Yeah, it's gonna be more used. Yeah, a more used tactic once the no deploy zones for Sunders come in the next game update. So it's a lot more galaxy action. So
I just hope one day galaxies can carry armor. Like
hot
only
drop
2
armor.
Yeah, like only 2 people in a galaxy and a tank, like a mag rider.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
You can already do that.
But the way I remember is they have plans for adding another vehicle to transport armor. Like in Planetside 1, you had the I forgot his name.
Lodestar.
Yes.
I have a question.
Humble hack, how the hell did you get into my lib?
Did he jump on?
I don't know, I've been hovering here for the past 20 minutes and somehow he's got in.
Oh no, I missed more.
So if you have, say, for example, if you have a squad of 6 Ives, right? How are you gonna organize them? I mean, are you gonna have them stick to one ringleader, or are you gonna split them up into 2 times 3, or you know?
Last time we did that, we just split them. I mean, split them as in create their own squads if needed, like so that they also have different color. And wing leader having the star on them, we got the most positive feedback from that last time that we did the Phoenix raid.
Okay, well, if you know, any case, if you want to have, you know, you've got big platoon running, you only have 1 squad for your Ives because the rest is full. What's the best approach there?
Well, currently you cannot move members around, but I'm not sure, but that feature might come in soon. Like you can move a certain person into like number 2 or number 3. Assigning that kind of an order can be coming in handy instead of if you are gonna have 2 wing leaders or 3 wing leaders, or essentially 4 wing leaders, instead of them having to trying to find the names of certain people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right now, as far as wing leaders went, we actually did form a platoon for that specially, so that each wing leader and each wing actually has their own color. And since we stayed at the same TS channel, we were able to coordinate between the wing leaders on attack patterns.
Okay.
So, in the worst case scenario, yeah, if we are gonna be staying in the same squad, we are gonna have to do it on one main wing leader and then secondary wing leaders, and then the wing leader telling the other wings on what to do. Like 3, 5.
You have like, is it so? Then you have 3 people, no, 2 people sticking to the ringleader, or do you have just?
It's up to the wing leader. He can do the fire team setup if he likes. Yeah.
Alright.
But all the while keeping the same team channel.
The challenge I've found when I've been leading Escorts is having people, you know, sticking together, because you've got so much more freedom of movement. It's hard to get people to really stick to each other's wings, because then you have to keep an eye out on your own movements, your wingman's movements, and the enemy movements, and yeah, that's just really tricky.
Yeah. Bane, thank you for also reminding in the platoon chat. When you are running with wingman groups and doing that kind of escort cover mission for your wing buddy, let's say that you are in a large air raid and there's one enemy site. That's also like against collision. You might not want to join in on the chase, and
just hang back and cover his tail.
Yeah, because while everybody is chasing one target, another target might have an easier shot on the guys who are chasing. So if you see that there's enough people following, often I would say let 2 or at most 3 people follow one target, so that it's also dealt with faster. If you break off and head out, you can then see if anybody is following those guys and then give covering fire to them. And as far as wingmans go, best way to cover each other when you are flying in the formation or when you are sticking as a group, assign your map zoom as your mouse scroll wheel. If you are not using the scroll wheel, you can immediately zoom in and zoom out. The new zooming out has been actually increased, so you can actually zoom out more than what you could used to, and it can come in handy into finding the wing leader and essentially finding out what is your relational position to the platoon waypoint or other ground units or facilities. And as far as notifying your wingman goes, always be sure to refer to them specifically if you are gonna give intel on, oh, enemy behind you. Enemy behind who comes to mind. So like if you are sticking with your wing leader, if you know their color, if they are color assigned, refer to their color instead of, I mean, refer to their like delta you have your tail full. Or if you can give numbers or some of the default notifications. But yeah, during wingmans, cohesion is much important in my opinion than deciding who gets to go behind the target, because essentially what it might end up is nobody goes because essentially everybody is thinking that, oh, the other guy will go, I shouldn't be that much of a hassle in there. And always remember that if you have met an AA nest, notify your wingman about it, because they may not notice that you have been just blown up by 50 lock-on missiles.
Sure.
Okay, and that I believe covers the escort flight. And now, some of the formation flight information I'm not gonna cover it, unfortunately, in the live public section. But if you guys like, we can skip to live practice, which I'm not sure if, I mean, always the live practices go horrible because you either find a large Zerg that has nothing to do with the game, essentially jerking them around there, or you find nobody. But well, anyhow, let's head to the Indar. It's gonna be the most likely place to find a target.
Yeah, let's go some BR to the... no pun intended.
So what, sorry, Indar?
Indar, yep.
So we're TR hunt.
There's a queue, yeah.
Might not be the best place for the queue.
It's always easier
Okay.
for flying.
I'm 8 now.
There's a target shooting back at me.
Okay, let's go
Live
to
target practice.
let's go to Esemir then. Esemir has no queue.
Yeah, my aim sucks, I already know
User
that.
disconnected from your channel.
Okay, so
Why not Amber Rush actually?
in Esemir there is a large group that is close by. So I'm gonna distribute everybody around. Who would like to get Charlie? Actually, I'm not gonna ask Bob.
I can't get out anymore.
I'm gonna distribute you guys around 4 squads. So essentially, your squad leader is gonna be your wing leaders, and we are gonna be having more further information once we are airborne.
Are we gonna fight in close range or long range?
Both. We are gonna be making dives and etc. Okay, I made a slight distribution of people all over the place.
So we're playing with randoms.
Not so many randoms though. I mean, I think there is like 2 randoms who are outside of just joined in randomly to the platoon.
I think there are 3 in Delta.
Oh.
So,
okay.
I just joined. Is it the plan to take a Skype or?
Yeah, at Esemir.
User left. User joined your channel.
You want
User
some
left your
lips
channel.
with us?
User joined your channel.
Yeah, sure, why not? Okay.
User
Oh yeah, one
disconnected
tip, I don't know if it was mentioned, if you're an engineer and you pull out your repair tool before entering an aircraft. You also have the repair tool out when you exit, so you can immediately start repairing.
Yeah, good tip.
Yeah, because you will shoot your your aircraft. I managed to shoot it to death a couple of times like that.
Okay guys, so what we are going to be doing is we are going to be dividing the wings up so that we all approach from different directions. Actually, the enemy is distributed quite neatly. So yeah, let's just stick together.
I have a Dalton nib that needs a gunner.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, how many lips do we have in there then?
I see one.
Okay.
Well, we'll scrap it to the start instead.
Then Bob, you will be the point man. We will follow you till the point,
do we
and
need a
then we will die.
ballad? I can pull one if we need one.
As long as people are there to gun. See?
Yeah, Alpha 2 won't need. I can gun. I can just crash and look my side.
Okay, I'll get a lift.
Let me check. You know, there's nothing worse than having an open air fight against established air, especially in SMR. Okay, so I'm gonna share our destinations. First of all, we will be heading to the all-shore checkpoint, which is marked at the platoon waypoint. Then we are gonna head north and make a left bank from there over Frostbite, and gonna hit Jaeger's Crossing, which is gonna standing directly northwest of the platoon waypoint. So
This is gonna be beautiful.
Either beautiful or horrible.
So many crashes.
So yeah, remember what you have learned, guys.
Am I getting a gunner, or Greybeans, you gunning for me?
What we are going to be doing is actually, if Lips can get information at the platoon waypoint, which is near the warp gate, it's right on top of the shield. You can actually reach the platoon waypoint. So Lips, position yourself around there. We are going to be doing a distribution so that there's going to be less collisions. Alpha will take the left flank, Bravo will take the mid flank, Charlie will take the right flank, and Delta will approach from low altitude. From the mid. You know they're all going air on there right now.
Or do you want Libs to fly out?
Libs,
combat, or
Libs stand together as far as if you have a gunner. Yeah, I see all of you have a gunner. Lips stand together if possible in a formation. Bane, you have point given that you are the one in position closest.
Bane, we're being shot at.
You alright?
Okay, Bane, come down from the... Okay, Bob, you have points instead. Bane, get behind Bob then. Bob, you can come from higher altitude.
Thank you. Okay, Ben, we're going to be going at 700, so since you leave, going straight up. Let's see, can I get a destination? See my point?
Measure that. Put on waypoint set.
Waiting for your go.
Okay, go.
Fightful, do you want to gun a lib?
Guys, we are gonna be in formation, so keep up with the Lips, and why that? Bob, you shouldn't have gained altitude like that.
Right, Delta squad below the Liberator.
Hey guys, do not go full speed ahead. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, are we supposed to be behind the Lips?
Okay guys, enemy armor at the platoon waypoint. Dive. Primary the beacon, please, and then we are gonna be continuing to fire towards the north. New platoon waypoint is set. After the shots, bank left. Weapons free, primary enemy sunder, secondary enemy armor. Oh, this is gonna be so going bad soon. Okay, looks clear enough. We are continuing to move on to Old Shore checkpoint.
Still an enemy beacon here, I'll take it down.
Get back to your ringleaders, guys.
Delta wing leader down.
Okay, I hop in my...
Okay guys, we are banking left. We are going to Jaeger's Crossing. New platoon waypoint is being set. We are estimating enemy sunders at the position, so group up. Stick with the lips.
Max at Frostbite Harbor, lock-ons as well.
Primary enemy sunder. Weapons free.
Focus on crossing.
Sunder
in front of you.
Nice banking, guys.
Hey Bob, have you got proximity chat on?
Nope, I don't.
Okay. Try and chat on that. Squad chat maybe, on in-game.
Gotcha.
User disconnected from your channel.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah, I've got you covered, Photo.
Incoming enemy aircraft.
Remember when
Galaxy
you've
spotted to the north.
guys, when you've
Yeah,
done
I'm
your
looking
attack,
for enemy armor.
when you've done your attack, remember to back left, and then get back to a squad leader, and then do another round. That's how this works.
Guys, platoon waypoint is still up.
There's a Max on the northeast side of B.
Are we rendezvousing at the platoon waypoint?
Setting up a new rendezvous point as platoon waypoint. Okay, let's meet up there. Then we are gonna be going against AA nest.
Can you get some repairs? Guy in the lip? Because I'm a light assault. Guy in the lip will land Alpha 3.
Gotcha,
Thank
dude.
you.
Yeah, switch to engineer guys if you're flying.
Thanks.
Okay,
okay, I'm
kill
on
him.
repair.
Where? I don't see him.
I need a
Sorry.
gunner if anyone crashes.
Infiltrator north of B of Jaeger's Crossing.
Bravo is ready and good to go.
Waypoint.
Yeah, platoon waypoint. There are only 3 people here.
Okay guys, nice gathering at the platoon waypoint. We are gonna be moving towards east. Delta 4, do you have... Can you confirm there's an AA nest there? Okay, judging from your health, I will say there's probably one. New platoon waypoint set, guys. We are going from low altitude. I repeat, we are going from low altitude.
Copy that. And what are we banking, left or right, when we've done our attack run?
Once the attack run is confirmed, when I say attack, you are free to pass over the point and then
Enemy
bank
sunder
left.
spotted.
ID on an enemy sunderer.
Primary is not the enemy sunder, primary is air. I'm marking attack, attack, attack.
Yeah, I'm already taking a lot of fire.
That means we're gonna be out straight over.
Primary is
I
enemy
was-
maxes.
Was basically the bait there.
Somebody behind me just flew over me and just crashed into me. Don't do that.
Platoon waypoint marked as the enemy AA nest.
Yeah, they're inside the spawn point. Destroyed.
Graven's
Got
on
an
me.
angle, Suki.
No problem. The people on the side just really need to watch where they're going. Try and use third person view when it's
Yeah, got an angle bane.
Are they firing inside the spawn room or are they able to come out?
Both.
People in front of us.
They're on the roof and in the spawn room.
Liberator's taking heavy fire over platoon waypoint now.
Okay guys, fall back from the platoon waypoint. We don't need to get hammered from the spawn room. I'm gonna take a peek just to see their distribution.
He's being out-repaired by...
Enemy max.
Yeah, I mean, patience really pays off when you're either flying or doing armor, because you have that long cooldown. So scouting is definitely appreciated, so...
Okay guys, do not engage the ANS there yet. We have a armored column moving in there, so we are gonna let them get close enough. And once those maxes feel comfortable enough to switch to anti-vehicle, anti-ground, we are gonna be moving in.
And get out of the spawn room.
We are gonna be meeting at the Eli M station. So guys, we all move to Eli M station right now. Establish air superiority there.
User entered your channel. User in your channel timed out.
Any libs need a gunner?
Yeah, Bravo 5.
As you are flying close to each other, you can roll your sight around to get the feeling of how the voice changes from your speaker, one speaker to another, so that you can start to train yourself on where the other side is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Wolfman. Yeah, no problem.
But no activity at LAM.
Yep, no worries. Okay guys, gather up. We are gonna be moving as air wing, one large air wing. So do not go to the platoon waypoint yet. Do not go to the platoon waypoint. I'm setting a new meet-up platoon waypoint to my position. We are gonna be hitting them as fast as possible, because right now they are engaged with our armored column, as far as I see. Platoon waypoint is set, their proximate camping position. We are gonna be flanking them. So what I need is, once I give the mark, you are free to use your afterburners to get to maximum speed. And our primary target is gonna be the enemy maxes. Secondary target is enemy sunderers and beacons. Tertiary target is, well, once the primary and secondary is gone, tertiary is gonna be the infantry heavies. Before that, if you use your flares or if you are starting to get lock on, you are free to disengage. Other than that, once we attack, we bank right as an exit. We estimate that the enemy TR maxes will be locked down and looking to the warp gate, so we are banking right. Okay, full speed on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. First, I will pass over and grab the most attention.
Okay, that was pretty cool.
Warp speed engaged.
Spotted an enemy transport. We got a hostile Max in the area.
Max is spotted to our left.
Oh, fuck.
Down below, bud.
You can retreat back to the amp station, guys.
Right back to amp. That was nice.
Yeah,
Did we get any maxes?
I got one HA.
Got double roadkills, but I died.
Worth it.
Triple roadkill. LOL.
Nice. I managed to hit a few, but didn't get any kills or
Nice fight, guys. So now we are gonna be doing a hit and run operation rather than focusing on their maxes. So they knew which direction we came from, and this time we are gonna be circling around from the new platoon waypoint. The region is clear, so meet up at the new platoon waypoint after you reach the Eli M station. We are gonna be flanking them from the north side. This time we are gonna be hitting the enemy Sunders. As soon as you hit, bank left and head back to the M station.
Copy.
Copy. Need gunner for a little warp here.
I'm here, Bob.
I'm setting the platoon waypoint now as their
Three guns
approximate
approaching, guys.
Sunder positions.
6 out of 12 gal towards Eli and station.
Double galaxy incoming for Eli.
Okay, engage the Galaxy.
Hostile galaxy in the area.
Galaxy.
They are towards our southeast.
High.
Copy.
Enemy galaxy in the
How
area.
did that hit me?
Eyes on an enemy
Nice.
Down.
Damn, they are going like flies.
Got an idea on an enemy galaxy.
6 out of 12. Surprise, motherfuckers!
Second galaxy down.
I'm sorry, Humble Lad. We want to
There's a
support
third
your
one on
side.
the M station.
I'll galaxy down.
Nicely done, guys. You are free to engage any infantry
There's
that
another one
dropped
on
off.
the M station. And down.
Ooh.
They are repairing the shields currently.
Generator repaired.
Oh, there's a lot of infantry in the base.
That's Galaxy southwest.
Yep.
Another galaxy north.
It's up.
They're going inside. Get ready on the door.
The proximity bases.
Okay, guys, please come to the platoon waypoint. I am setting it back to the meetup point. We are going to be going there, and we are going to be again attacking getting ready to attack the frostbite. Oh, there's a mosquito in front of me.
I'm out of resources and on cooldown, so I'm gonna play as an infantry for a bit.
Kill that monkey.
He jumped out. And this almost crashed into me.
It was some in here as well.
Permission to go get more ammo.
Yeah, granted. Okay,
You
guys.
probably have to go warp gate for that.
Okay, guys, new platoon waypoint is set. We are attacking in 10 seconds. Get ready. Full speed on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Enemy harasser, secondary. Primary enemy Sunders. Do not stand there long, guys. Once you shoot, get off.
That was a lot of actors.
Yeah, they were all at the Sunders, and the moment they saw us, because they were heading towards us, they decided, jump out, jump out!
They got scared.
Yeah, I got taken down. I'm on a 7-minute cooldown.
Pull a lid, brah.
Yeah, I don't have any resources anymore.
Anyone
guys?
who needs a gunner?
You guys can have my lit, I'll spawn aside instead.
Well guys, I hope you also enjoyed the live ops, and at this point, while the fun is at the peak, I'm going to say thank you for all joining to the first ever open all faction all servers training ops.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I hope everybody learned something, and I hope it wasn't total waste of time, and well, perhaps see you on the next one.
Definitely not the last one,
Yeah,
bro.
thanks Dave, awesome.
Yep, definitely not gonna be the last one.
Awesome, Dave.
Also, thanks for wearing the spandexes.
It was a pleasure, it felt good, I felt sexy.
Could someone spawn a galaxy, maybe?
A moving gunboat, is that what you're saying?